Agenda for this lecture video. We will discuss static keyword and final keyword, and where we have to use static keyword and where we have to use final keyword. What is the use of static and what is the use of final keyword? We will come to know by the end of this session. Okay. So what is static keyword and what is the use of static keyword? The main use of static keyword is memory management. So the static keyword in Java is mainly used for memory management. We will see that in practical. Okay, don't worry about that. And we can use that static keyword in three places. As we have seen here, the static keyword can be applicable for variable and method, and we can create a block, static block also, right? So static variable, if you declare any variable as static with the static keyword, it is known as static variable. So in front of the variable along with the data type, if you mention that as static, then that will become a static variable. We will see that in a program. So I will open my notepad plus plus, take it in new, and I will create a demo program or student. That is my class name is student. I will save this student.java, right? Is the main method, and in the main method I wanted to create an object for that class. So this is the constructor, right? Okay. And I will take a global variable int roll number, string name, string company, right? These are my variables. Okay, now I will try to create a method void set data, and another method void display for displaying the data. In the set data, what I will do is I will take the roll number is equal to R, and name is equal to N, company is equal to C. So these parameters will come from here. Int R, string N, string C, right? And I have to pass those variables from here, right? So if you wanted to assign variables, then you need to call this method. For calling this method, you need to create an object for that class, right? So set method is available in student class. So for that student class, I have created an instance. So this is student1. Using student1, s1 dot set data. So I'm assigning from here, I'm assigning the data, roll number 1, and name is Ravindra, and what was that, company. Google, and I'm creating another one more object for the next candidate. This is another candidate. So s2 dot set data, right? Again I need to repeat that parameters, right? So for this thing I need to pass a variable and another one, and again the company is same. See that the company is same. So I will after that what I will do is I wanted to display the data using this display method. So here to display the data I will just call those parameters. Okay, system dot out dot println, sorry, system dot out dot println, and first I will print so roll number instead of roll number RNO. So it is better to take ID, right? So we are dealing with the company means ID is a suitable name, no issue if you keep that RNO also, no issue, that is not an issue. So here also I need to change this thing into ID, and here ID, and I'm giving some space. Again I will print name, and here also I'm giving space, and then after what, company. So this will be done. Then okay, I will call that display method using s1 data, s1 dot display, and for s2 also s2 dot display. Done. See here the main method was ended, and we have ended with the class also. I will try to save this method with one more time with the student name. Then I will run this program. Mm, tutorials. What is our program name? Student, right? Student.java. So cannot find symbol display. Okay, some spelling mistake I think. So here dis display. Yeah, it's done. So see that two records are printed. Here two records are printed, right? So I will explain you the general scenario what internally happens in the memory. Okay, so see that I will take my paint. Here consider it is a memory, so right, and in the memory, so there are two objects. Okay, there are two objects, and those objects are having how many variables in each. In a student class, how many variables are there? id and what, company name and name of a student. So two students, I have taken two students. Those two students got placed in Google company, so same company. So Google has given, I assume that Google has given their IDs also. So I have three variables and three instance variables. First, suppose, so three instance variables, if I mention uh, from here to here, here to here, uh, it was S1. Assume that it may not be practically right. So here to here S1, right? So see that in this box for ID number it takes 1, and in this box, in this cell memory location, it is taking name, right? A candidate name. And in this box it is taking company name where the student got placed. And one more time, these three boxes, okay, are these three boxes from here to again this box, right? Consider it is a student, for student 2. Yes, to again the student has individual ID, right? The student 2, and the student name is then after what, again here see that Google, see that. But here you can observe that if 100 students are there in your college, among 100, consider if Google is taken 50 students from your college, and then how many times I need to repeat this thing? 50 times, right? But the Google is same, the company name is common for all the students, the company name is common for all the students. Even though you can observe this, it is taking some bytes of memory, right? For suppose this is taking 8 bytes of memory. Google, this memory is 8 bytes. Again here also for student 2 also, for the same company name I am taking 8 bytes. For 50 students I need to take 50 into 8 bytes, right? So such amount of memory space is getting wasted because the company name is common for all the students. So why can't I take it as common for every student and utilize my memory and save my memory, right? So static keyword makes that possible. So the main intention of the static keyword is memory management. It will utilize the memory in an efficient way. So what it will do is instead of writing the company name many number of times, so it will do that, it will do one thing, that uh, Google in the memory itself it will take this thing, uh, Google, but this memory location will be referenced by S1 also, and will be referenced by S2 also, student 2 also. And if there is another student, S3, and sorry, S3, then this student will also refer the same memory location. So memory management is properly done here with the help of static keyword. So in my program, what I will do is, instead of writing this here, and in front of this company variable I am taking as static. If any variable is declared as static, then that will be allocate that the company variable, the static variable, will get memory allocation only for one time. How many number of times you can use that thing, that is not at all a question, but it will treat that thing, if it will create the memory for that static variable only one time. Okay, so we will do that. And you can assign this, right? Now what, you need to change this thing, right? Again I am compiling it, again I am running this. See that company name, but for the above output and below output are different. Different means not in the, not with respect to the lowercase and uppercase. Here for these three variables, memory was allocated individually. For these three variables also memory was allocated, but here there are six variables here in this case, but the memory allocation was done for only five. One for these roll numbers, for these two names, and here you consider this, these are not came from instance variable. That means the memory allocation was done as shown in the figure. So 1 2 3 4, and this one is 5 for all the objects. Okay, right? So we'll see one more example on static keyword itself, and how it was useful. I will take another program, and here I'm writing a class name as counter, and I'll save this with the name counter. So you can take a normal variable, and that is global, int c is equal to, and you will assign that as 0. So we'll get it, that will get the memory each time when the instance is created, because that is an instance variable, right? That is not a class variable, but the static variable is class variable, and the instance variable is instance variable. Instance means object, right? Number of times I am telling that instance is an object. So right, I am taking a constructor here. Constructor means it is a special type of method that looks, that is having a name of class. So right, I'm incrementing this thing, and I'm trying to print that variable. Right, so this is my normal program to show the importance of static keyword, but there is no static variable here. Now I will create a class, and I'm taking c1 is equal to new. This is the object. I wanted to create three objects here, three different objects, three different objects. right? These are the three different objects. So what may be the output here? So the output, you can look at that. So class name is counter, and this is the constructor. whenever 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 you're trying to create an object for the class, then automatically using the new keyword and with the support of constructor, the c1 will be activated, and the constructor, the default constructor will be called. When the default constructor is called, automatically the first instruction is it needs to increment the value of c. So value of c is 0, and incrementing means it will become 1, right? Then that 1 will be printed. Again I'm creating one more object, right? Again one more object means, and that will be remain same for the c value for the c2. C value for the c2 remains 0. But in this case, when it was activated, it called the default constructor, and c1, for c1 the value of c was incremented. For c1 now it was 1. For c2 the updated value of c will not reflect for c2, so again the value of c is 0 for c2, and the value of c is 0 for c3. Okay, we will see the output. uh, for all these three I will get 1 1 1. We'll see that. Counter, right? Counter. So see that the input is what, sorry, output is 1 1 1. So now I will mention the c as static. See that I'll mention c as static. That means the c is common for all these three objects, right? When c1 is activated, the c value will be 1, that will be printed. So as I told you, the c value is common for all these three objects. When you call this c2 will be activated. Again counter will be that means default constructor will be called, and c++. But note that it was a static variable, right? So c++ means the previous value that was activated, the previous value that was incremented by object c1 is reflected for this c2. That means now the c2 contains value c is equal to 1. When it was incremented, it will become 2, and the same thing will be repeated for c3 also. Then it will become 3, right? We will see the output by just changing uh, a variable, instance variable, into static variable. That means instance variable now becomes a class variable. That means static variable. Compile this and run this. See that output. uh, this is 111 and 123, right? Memory management, a proper memory management was done. So next thing is static method. So if you apply static keyword with any method, it is known as static method. And here we need to note that a static method belongs to the class rather than object of a class. So note that thing. In the static variable also, that is related to class rather than object. So there is no need of object for static related things. There is no need of object. That means there is no need to call an object for static methods. There is no need to no need of object for static variables. To call a static variable, class name is enough. To call a static method, class name is enough. But in the case of instance methods and instance variables, and you need to take the support of instance, that means object. And here a static method can be invoked without the need of creating an instance of a class. No need to create an object for the class to call static methods or static variables. So we will see an example on that. I will take the same students example, and I will change this thing, ID and stuff, ID, so no problem, ID, name, those variables are enough for me. Or let me, yes, and I will take this wide change, a method called change, and I wanted to change company. Okay, and what kind of method is this? This method is an instance method. When you declare a static keyword in front of the instance method, then that will become what? A static method. So here this one is the static method, and here set data is what? Instance method, and display is also instance method. So right, what I will do is, so here you can see that to call set data and display, so set data and display methods are instance methods. So to call these methods, I have taken the support of object of a class, right? Here you can see s1 is an object, that means instance. S2 is also object. Here s2 is an object, s1 is an object. To call the set data method, I have taken the support of s1 dot set data, s2 dot set data, s1 dot display, s2 dot display. But you need to observe one thing, that change is not a instance method, right? Because anything that was declared with the static keyword becomes static method. So there is no need of object to call this method. So what is needed to call that method means, to call that method there is only one thing that was needed. Here you can see class name student dot change. That was enough. Student is a class name, right? So that's why we told that method that was declared with static is a class method. So class methods will be accessed with class name, instance methods will be accessed with instances. Save this, execute. Student, right? Yes, you can see that, so name of the you can ask me that, you can ask me one question after looking this output. First records were printed, second record was printed, but in our program you can see, in our program I have assigned this thing, right? I have assigned this first data, and then after second record was assigned. in between the first record and second record, I have mentioned a statement like a student dot change. I call this method. So for the first record, the college name is the company name is Google, right? For the first record, the company name is Google. For the second record, it should be TCS, right? But what will happen is, um, static variables, the static variables the static variables or static methods will be activated without the support of object, right? So they will be loaded into the memory, they are activated into the memory along with class loading. When the class is loaded, that means class loading means, here you can see this is compilation phase, right? Compiled. When you are doing this, this is the name of a class. That means, in this is student dot class file, class file machine code is available here. So when I execute this thing, then the dot class file will be loaded into memory. While loading into the memory, automatically the static methods and variables will be activated before object creation it will done. So irrespective of statement number, line number, so automatically these statements will be activated. So that was reflected for two records. Okay, I think you understood. That is all about static methods. And one more thing is static block. So static blocks, it is used to initialize the static data members, and it is executed before the main method at the time of class loading. And actually all the static things will be loaded at the time of class loading only. All the static things, static variable, static method, static block, executed before the main method at the time of class loading. So that's why the main method, you can ask me that why is the Java main method is static, public static void main we are writing, right? Why this main method is static, right? uh, it is because the object is not required to call a static method. It is clear that, right? So if it was a non-static method, that means if it was a instance method, instance is required, right? So JVM creates an object first, then call main method. That will lead to the problem of extra memory allocation. So to avoid that, and for automatic loading, so the main method is static. So right, we will see static block. Static block means this is right, this is the block, static block. So from the static block, what I wanted to do is, I will just print an output statement. Static block, and I will remove all these unnecessary for this program. And as I said, the static blocks doesn't require what, doesn't require memory, sorry, object creation. Without object creation, without the need of the constructor support, they will get loaded. We will see that in this program. So tell me, which statement will be executed first? Which statement? So according to this, see that according to this, it is executed before main method, right? Static things will be executed before main method. So that means what? First this statement will be printed, then after only from main method statement will be printed. We will see that. I think, am I saved that? I will, yes, counter. See that first static block was executed, then it comes to the main method. So this is all about static keyword. So the main purpose of the static keyword is memory maintenance. So, and we will go for the final keyword. The final keyword is used in front of uh, variable, in front of method, and in front of class also. So the final keyword, the main purpose of the final keyword is to restrict the user. So using the final keyword we will do some restriction for variable, we will do restriction for the method, we will do restriction for the class also. So we will first see, look at the final variable. So if you make any variable as final using the keyword final, using the keyword final, if you mention any variable as final, you cannot change the value of final variable throughout the program. So that means it will be constant, that will be constant, no one will change that thing. So we will see that practically. Sorry, I will open my, so here see that there is a class called bike, and I'm taking a variable called speed is equal to 90. So I wanted to set this thing as final. That means I wanted to make this variable as constant variable. No one, I thought that no one has to change this variable throughout the program, right? For suppose if anyone try to change this thing, if anyone tries to change this thing, that means speed is equal to 250, then according to the rules of final, if you declare any variable as final, that will be constant. Then in our program I am trying to change the final variable from 90 to 250, then what it will do, it will rise an error. We will see that. This is an instance method, right? For calling an instance method, what I need object of that class. No, save as. See that error, cannot assign a value to final variable speed. You cannot assign, again reassign the value for final variables, right? It won't allow you to change that variable again. And the final keyword will be used in front of the method also, right? In front of the method also you can use that thing. And what will happen if you use that final keyword in front of the method? If you make any method as final, you cannot override it. so we cannot override it. Overriding means it is an inheritance concept. So in the inheritance, I need two classes. One is parent class and another is child class. So I will make this one as this one as sorry final. This one as final method, and I will change this method name as run. Here I wanted to print a statement. I will close this class, and I will create another class also. Extends is a keyword to get the properties of by class. So when you use extend keyword, what will happen? I think you have to know awareness on the inheritance concept. So using extends keyword, I can get all the properties of bike into Honda. Properties means variables and methods. So all the variables and methods of bike class will be inherited, will come to this Honda class, right? So here also I'm trying to uh, write override this method. Here you can see right. So then I'll take the support of main method because programs start running from here only. I'll create an object for Honda instead of Honda h is equal to new Honda. Then I will call method run using h dot run. So what will happen here? According to the definition, if you make any method as final, see that I made this run as final. So if you make any method as final, you cannot override it. Overriding means, as I said, using inheritance, if you use this extends keyword, all the methods will be inherited, and that means this method will come to Honda class. This method is coming means this method along with the body and along with the functionality, it is coming to Honda class, right? But you are overriding that statement. You are overriding that statement instead of using that. Instead of using that statement, you are overriding it. But according to the final keyword, it should not happen. So it will return an error. So see that actually if in your file, if you have two classes, and you need to save this file where the main method is available, or if there is no problem while running the program, while compilation you can use the file name, while running the program use this Honda class name. So compilation I'm using bike. See that error. Run in Honda cannot override run in bike. So in Honda cannot override run in bike. So what to do? Just remove this statement just remove this statement, overriding statement, and it will be done fine. Compiled. For running, what you need to do, for running you need to use Honda. So running, and the final keyword can be used in front of the class also. So that means for this class I will remove this final and I will place this thing here. Final, see that? So what will happen if I have mentioned the variable final in front of the class? See that if you mention that final keyword in front of the class, what will happen is, if you make any class as final, you cannot extend it. That means if you are thinking that uh, extend keywords, what is the use of extend keyword here? The extend keywords makes use of all the methods and variables in Honda class, right? So Honda class no need to get struggle for extra for creating these methods. It just using extend keywords. So using extend keyword, all the methods and variables will be inherited to Honda, right? If you think that my bike class methods and variables will not go into any other classes, so I want to restrict this bike class, that no one will inherit that, then you will mention as final. So if you mention this thing as final, so the class will not participate in inheritance. So that means the methods and variables of that particular class will not go into any other class, even with the support of extend also. Okay, so right, we will see that. Bike, right? See, cannot inherit from final bike. So this statement will be invalid in this program because this class is not allowing that to take its variables and methods from bike to Honda. So using final keyword, the main purpose of final keyword is restricting the user. So it is restricting the variable not to change it the value, and it is restricting the method not to override, and it is restricting the class not to inherit. So this is all about the final keyword. And if you have any doubt regarding static keyword and what and final keyword, you can just comment